Man of Sorrows, the name that Jesus is known by. Welcome to Bible Study Hub. I'm Ann Wiggins, and we are in the Gospel of John as we go through our 10-minute or less morning devotional Monday through Friday. So glad that you are with us. If you follow along by the day, it is Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Let's pick it right up. We have a lot to get through this morning, and we're in John chapter 11. We'll be doing verses 28 to 36, and then we'll take the first part of that, and we'll really dig in. We'll split this in two. Tomorrow, we'll do the second half of this little passage and dig into that. So Legacy Standard Version is the one that I love to read from, and that's where I am. So you can follow along on the screen, or you can always open up your own Bible and follow in that. Here we go. John 11, 28 to 36. And when she had said this is Martha, she went away and called Mary, her sister, saying secretly, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, Mary, she got up quickly and was coming to him. Now, Jesus had not yet come into the village, but he was still in the place where Martha had met him. Then the Jews who were with her, Mary, in the house and consoling her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, they followed her, thinking that she was going to the tomb to cry there. Therefore, when Mary came to where Jesus was, she saw him and fell at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus therefore saw her crying, and the Jews who came with her also crying, he was deeply moved in spirit and was troubled, and said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus wept. So the Jews were saying, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man also from dying?" Well, we'll be taking today verses 28 to 32. Just a little bit of a review and a little bit more information on how the Jews grieved when loved ones died. As we said yesterday or 2 days ago, they would very quickly get the body into the tomb. They didn't embalm. They would put spices and ointments on the body, and then they would just loosely wrap it in some cloths. The head would get wrapped. The body would get wrapped in a different wrapping. And then they would lay them out on a shelf in a tomb, if possible. And then as the body would decompose and become just merely a skeleton, eventually they would come in, collect the bones off of the shelf in the tomb, put them in a box, and push them off to the side. And so you would have whole families, like for generations in the same tomb. They were just, their bones were in boxes, and that's how they would do it. But what I haven't told you, and maybe you already know this, maybe this is new to you, is unlike our Western 2025 and prior experience with mourning, if you've ever been to a funeral, it tends to be, in our culture anyhow, kind of subdued, quiet, hushed. People are crying, but they attempt to keep it under control most of the time. Of course, there are exceptions to everyone is different and every service is different, but I'm just saying, as a sweeping generalization, we tend to have soft music, people kind of talking in low tones. It's just how we do it. It's not right or wrong. It's just cultural. Well, that's not how they did it back then. When somebody died, it was very important to have loud, wailing, mourning, and they even had shrill flutes, probably this, flutes playing really dissonant music. And they would actually, if they had means, hire professional mourners to wail and weep and cry and sob. The more the better, and the longer the better. Very different from how we do it today. I actually was thinking about this, and I'm going to pull up a picture for you to show you something. Back in 2012, as I've mentioned prior in other Bible studies, I was in Morocco, and we happened to be in a big city, and this went by. I took this picture. It's a casket of sorts, and you can see that they have, of course, it's in the Middle East area, Northern Africa, they have the body loosely wrapped. It looks like some kind of tapestry or blanket, some beautiful arrangement there of a blanket situation. And And they were preceding the corpse wrapped up through the streets of the city. And what you can't tell from that picture, but I remember it very clearly, is that there were a lot of people making a lot of noise on purpose, not in a disrespectful way at all. Back to what we were just saying, it was the way that they showed honor to the deceased. So there were a lot of people just really crying loudly. They were banging on some things to make some icky noise. And it was just fascinating to watch another culture grieve. So imagine the scene that Jesus beheld. Here comes Mary, his beloved friend. She comes out to meet him and she collapses at his feet. And she just says, Jesus, if you had been here, he wouldn't have died. The disappointment. Have you ever had to disappoint somebody? You had to. You had no choice. It had to be done. And you knew it was going to be horrible. Maybe you had to take driving privileges away from a grandparent or a parent who should not be driving anymore, but they don't know it and they don't agree with you. And you disappointed them terribly by taking their car away. Something like that is heart-wrenching to do, even when it's the right thing. Imagine Jesus. He had to do this the way he was doing it in order to accomplish what he wanted to accomplish, but he really disappointed his friends, and they're shattered and they're confused. That had to feel really terrible. And then behind her, coming down the pike, is this just heart-wrenching, sorrowful mourning, the flutes, the wailing, the weeping, the crying. This is really hard. Jesus didn't have to insert himself into our pain. He didn't do anything. He was sinless. We all, on some level, kind of deserve it, right? Because we're all sinners. We're all in this whole sinful world thing together. And so when we suffer, even if we didn't directly do something that caused it, we can't sit by and honestly say, I'm totally 100% innocent and I don't deserve any problems in my life. I mean, none of us are in that spot. But Jesus was. He could have just parachuted in for the crucifixion, gotten it over with as quickly as possible, and gotten out of there. And it would have been okay. I mean, not as great for us, but it still would have accomplished what we needed to accomplish with his death on the cross. What he did was for 33 years, he inserted himself all into our pain. That's incredible. When you talk to Jesus about your suffering, your pain, your sorrow, your confusion, your disappointment, I want you to know that in Hebrews 4:15, it says something very important about Jesus. It says, "For we do not have a high priest," meaning Jesus, "who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who has been tempted in all things like we are, yet without sin." Jesus didn't have to endure a single thing that he's going through right now. In fact, he could have looked at everybody and said, "Would you please stop? What is wrong with you people? I'm going to do a miracle in a minute. If you'd all settle down, we could get this show on the road." And instead, you feel Jesus like sink into the moment, the sorrow, the grief, the shattered hearts and lives, what sin has done as a whole to humanity. He fully immerses himself in. He didn't have to do that. And he did it anyway. And he did it because he loves you. And so that you and I, regardless of what we ever go through, never have to pray to Jesus and say, I know you don't understand what it's like, but he understands it. He lived it. He experienced it. And he is there for you. So whatever you're going through today, I hope that brings you comfort. And listen, lean into it. Sometimes we try to extract ourselves from painful situations because we just don't like them. It's tempting, but sometimes the best thing we can do is just firmly plant our feet and go, I'm just going to have to endure it. I'm going to have to get through this. Not alone, but with the help of Jesus, we'll get through. I love you all so much. Thank you for being with me on Bible Study Hub. Lord willing, we will reconvene tomorrow and we will continue our study in this profound, amazing chapter, John 11. Until then, have a wonderful day and I'll see you then.